Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues with JIDE. Here we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, 2027 politics, APC woos Fubara, Alex Otti, and PDP governors. In the course of the program, we take our questions, but first subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom, the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Ototoju. Good to see you, Dikil.
Good evening, Brian. Good evening to you, esteemed viewers.
Right. In very simple terms, it is no secret that ahead of 2027, the APC is reaching out aggressively to some influential non-APC leaders. We saw the Delta state governor, the legislators, the House of Assembly members, and the local government chairman, and a host of others. Let's just say the whole Delta declared for the APC, and then we've been seeing leaders like Governor Fubara of Rivers State and Governor Alex Otti of Abia State being wooed. To many, it is basic political mathematics, strength in numbers. But in your view, BKO, is the APC's move a smart political consolidation, or does it risk looking like desperation so early?
Well, I want to look at it in two ways. Politics is an interest-driven game, and sometimes when your interest aligns with mine, and we have a coalition of interests, this sort of thing can happen. The president and his minders know that the 2027 presidential election, for example, is not going to be easy because some political bigwigs have already risen up in a wave against the president. They are determined to see his back. They are determined to ensure that he does not get re-elected. And for that reason, he knows that he has to work extra hard. The president also knows that quite some opposition will come from northern Nigeria. Perhaps greater opposition to his election than we witnessed in 2023. He therefore knows that he has to strengthen his hand in southern Nigeria. The North is still very much at play, and I know that the president will not want to give up the North. There is no serious presidential candidate or incumbent president who would want to take the North lightly. Yes, this constitution is designed in such a way that we need one another. No northern candidate, no matter how strong, can be elected simply on the strength of northern votes. I had to say this to Baba Ahmed when he said, oh, the North will determine who is next president. The South can also determine who becomes the next president. And in our kind of politics, all kinds of dynamics are at play. Olusegun Obasanjo lost the Southwest, his own base. He was roundly defeated in his own base by Olufalaye, but it didn't stop him from winning the presidential election in 1999 with a hefty margin. So your own people can actually reject you and you still win the election. Tinubu was the loser in the presidential election in Lagos and Osun states. but it didn't stop him from being elected president. Now, going back to what the point that I wanted to make, when you look at a governor like Sheriff Oborevori, Sheriff had begun to lose grassroots support. This is the point that a lot of people did not take into consideration. First and foremost, Delta PDP had not retained the power that it used to have. In the senatorial election in 2023, Delta PDP lost 2 of the 3 seats to the APC. Delta PDP lost the presidential election to the Labour Party, despite the fact that Ifeanyi Okowa, the incumbent governor, was on the ballot as running mate to Atiku Abubakar. And after that election, the Delta PDP had consistently lost members. Senator Ned Nwoko had to leave. Before then, many had left. The Delta Unity group, for example, they welcomed them into the APC in Abo in hundreds. So he was already losing some measure of grassroots support. Crucially, the undisputed king of Delta politics, James Onanefe Ibori, had been snubbing this governor since the governor won a highly contentious and disputed primary election to become the standard bearer of his party. Ibori's candidate lost to him because Okowa decided to back a different person. That is Sheriff, and Sheriff carried the day. So to that extent, he felt that the way things were going, that he would find it difficult to retain his position as governor. The president's people like Tom Polo, who is very strong, especially in the talking about the riverine areas. Tom Polo is quite strong. Ibori and Senator Ned Nwoko, who is doing quite well in the Anioma area. That is the Igbo-speaking part of Delta State, located in Delta North. The president's people, they had been attacking the governor, you know. So the governor must have felt, well, if I decide to join the APC, these attackers who are close to the president, they will leave me alone. I will now be in good company. I'll be able to contest election and stand a good chance of winning. Many people defect, do that to strengthen their chances of winning election. In a country where many people have lost faith in the electoral process, in the electoral arbiter, many people will think that once you join the ruling party, your chances of winning are very strong. So the desire for protection, the desperation to be re-elected, these are reasons people decide to jump ship. People decide to defect. Now, I will not deny that I didn't see this coming. For months, it had been speculated that Governor Sheriff Oborevori will leave the PDP. When he openly praised the president the video went viral, and he came out to say, no, I'm not leaving. And some of those in the APC were even saying, no, don't come. People like Omar Agege, they said, we don't want you in the party because Omar Agege is interested in the governorship. And he was sure that he feels threatened that if an incumbent governor comes into the party, he automatically becomes the leader of the party. And the primary election, which is usually along the delegate line, may be difficult, if not impossible, for him to win. So he and Senator Ned Nwoko have been saying, we don't want you to join us. We don't want you to join the APC. You can imagine people who are not originally APC themselves trying to determine who can join the APC. It's a very funny reality. But this is the situation with Rivers. Talking about other states, what the APC is trying to do is to take complete control of the South-South. If they can get the governor of Akwa Ibom, for example, to join the APC, if they can get Fubara to also join the APC, you know that already they have Cross River, already they have Edo. So they will be in a very good position to take control of the South-South, which is the cash cow of our country. Can you hear me, Ibrahim? Ibrahim, can you hear me? Ibrahim? The point that I'm making is the APC is determined to take complete control of the South-South. The South-South is the cash cow of our country. The three states that receive the highest from FARC, they are in the South-South. So APC knows that if we can take control of the South-South, can get governors like Fubara, Sheriff, and Umoeno of Akwa Ibom, who has openly expressed his desire for the president to be re-elected, then they stand a very good chance of being of winning the 2027 presidential election, because the resources at the disposal of the governors of Akwa Ibom, Delta, and Rivers is humongous. And when it comes to elections in our country are very, very expensive. You spend so much money buying votes. You spend so much money on logistics and all that. It costs billions of naira to manage an election in our country for politicians, especially those contesting for governor and those contesting for the Senate. It costs billions of naira. So they know that if they have control of those rich states, if the governors are on their side, they will be able to fund the election properly. Because I won't lie to you, governors spend public funds on elections in our country. Whoever says that is not true does not know what he's saying. This is our reality. Yeah. So now, if you have Rivers, you have Delta, you have Akwa Ibom, you have the war chest to go into an election. And if the PDP that had always relied on those two states for funding elections and all that are denied of those key states. Right now, PDP has 11 states. if they are denied of those key states, it will be difficult for them to fund their challenge to the president. So this is why they are quietly targeting these governors, trying to get these governors of those states that I talked about earlier to come into the fold of the party. You remember they've taken Edo State, so and they have Cross River, so is going to be Bayelsa alone that will remain with the PDP in the South South. And the South South had always been the strength of the PDP. So that is crucial. And APC is also gunning for the governor of Abia State. The governor has denied that he's been having meetings with APC leaders and all that. But we've seen many deniers in the past, and ultimately we saw that somebody moved. What is helping let me just drop this before you ask me a question. What has really played into the hands of APC leaders as they continue to negotiate is the fact that a lot of the current governors are first-term governors who want to be re-elected and who are afraid that if they do not form the right alliances or if they do not join the ruling party, they may not be elected. So a lot of them are scared. A lot of them believe that the best thing to do is to go and work for the ruling party. So this is where we are. The governor of Kano, is a possibility that the governor of Kano will eventually join the party because they are reaching out to Kwankwaso, and chances are that Kwankwaso, who is currently the most powerful man in Kano politics, may return to his old party, which is the APC. And if that happens, the governor comes with him. Just the same way the governor, just the same way that Okowa, who brought Sheriff, the Delta State governor, to office, also came with him into the APC. So that could happen in Kano. And I know that the negotiation is very much on. I know one person who is keenly involved in the negotiation and the talks to bring Kwankwaso back into the APC fold. And once that happens, the governor will come with him. So there's genuine fear in the opposition ranks that the ruling party will try and take some of their governors. Already a lot of federal lawmakers have defected. Labour Party lawmakers, a good number of them, they've left their party. PDP, so they are leaving. Now the governors are also coming into the APC fold. This is the reality.
All right, BK. Yeah. So if you look at legal experts, they often cite section 68G and section 109(1)G of the Constitution, which discuss actually elected officials losing their seats if they defect without party divisions. Now, strictly from a legal standpoint and the way you see it, if Fubara or Otti and those that have gone, or those that have left the party, were to switch parties, Fubara and Otti were to switch parties, and those that have gone who have now switched parties before their tenure ends, could they face constitutional hurdles or litigation considering the anti-defection clauses?
You are not going to face any hurdle. Whatever people say will just amount to what the Yorubas call Ariwoja, impotent noise making. Impotent noise making. That's what governors have always defected in our country without losing their seats. Even during between 1999 and 2003, there were governors who defected, and they didn't achieve anything. Nobody tried to cause them to lose their positions and all that. It's where we've seen that happen is with legislators, lawmakers, but people of the stature of a governor, I've not seen any of them lose their seats. In any case, it can be argued that there is crisis in the Labour Party if Governor Otti eventually leaves. There is crisis in Labour Party. In Abia State, they conducted a local government election without using the Labour Party platform. The governor's candidates didn't use the Labour Party platform. The same thing happened in Rivers State. The governor's candidates had to contest on the platform of a rival party to the PDP because of the crisis in the state and even at the national level. APC, PDP today, we don't even know who their national secretary is. Something as simple as the national secretary of the party. They are battling against themselves over it. It's the height of greed for power that you can't resolve a simple issue as the secretary of your party. So no one will say that PDP is not in crisis. But I don't even think it will get to that. Don't let us bother ourselves. If a governor leaves a party, he leaves for good. Nobody will take his position. Nobody. Nobody will use the court to take his position. Mark my words. People can quote any section that they like. I believe that that thing is actually even targeted at lawmakers, given what happened during the First Republic. The cross-carpeting and the First Republic that almost brought the country down.
Yeah.
So,
but if you look at it,
but I do not see it being effective at the level of governors.
But if you look at it, some critics argue, very simply that we governors midterm could disrupt governance at the state level and keeping voter cynicism. Do you think the APC strategy risks backfiring, portraying them more as political opportunists than party focused on national development?
First and foremost, a party is determined to win an election. It is after you won an election that you can lay out your plan for the people. And political figures always want to win. You see Kagame, Paul Kagame, he does not take anything less than 92% of the balloting. So they have multi-party situation, but the man continues to dominate the election. The APC, I may not approve of their methods, but let's not kid ourselves. Some of the critics, if they find themselves in that situation where they can use power, can use raw power to get opposition elements to come and join them, they will do it. People do it at state level. That's why you see that incumbent governors are difficult to defeat in the governorship elections. Are very difficult to defeat because they have resources and they always make sure that they become so strong that an opposition party finds it extremely difficult to unseat them. You've seen even where APC lost in the presidential election, they kept their states during the governorship election. APC lost not less than 10 states that it was in control of in the presidential election, but it didn't happen in the governorship election. They lost Kebbi, but they found a way to win Kebbi. They lost Kaduna, but they were well beaten in Kaduna, both in the presidential election and the National Assembly election. But they found a way to win, and Ubasani triumphed over Issa Kudan. And that's what happened in many other places. where the APC, apart from maybe Plateau, they managed, even where they lost in the presidential election, the governorship election, they found a way to win. Politics is by nature local. And as I used to say, even insecurity is by nature local.
Let me take some comments here before I ask the last question. We have on YouTube, Evangelist Julius Omoribe. President Tinubu is really a big politician. I'm only concerned about Nigeria becoming a one-party state. I don't blame him. Politics is a game. Nelson Adufe says it's normal for anyone to shift from party to another, otherwise the campaign, or otherwise known as defecting. But I wish to clarify if there is a condition for defecting under the law. Kingsley Onyele says APC is taking advantage of the mishap in PDP. This one calls himself Mr. Nigeria. It's high time the Southeast woke up from their slumber. Victor Patrick says, good evening, JIDE and Ibrahim. The last general election has proved that elections are not being won by party or governors. It's now the people that decide who will win. Delta and Edo is an example. Fatima Suleiman says the constitution needs amendment. Politicians crossing over midterm should automatically lose their seats. That's the only way to protect democracy. Michael Adeyemi says, smart move by the APC. If you want to stay in power, you plan early. PDP is sleeping while APC is harvesting top players. So, BKO, given the fractures within the PDP, especially post-2023 elections and the way we are seeing forth and back and seeing Malam Nasir El-Rufai, aggrieved Malam Nasir El-Rufai, who is now, frolicking with former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and a host of others, and the CPC's position seem to be fragmenting along the line of who they stand with or not. Do you feel that could welcoming figures like Fubara and Otti genuinely redefine APC's image as a more centrist and nationally accommodating, especially in South and Southeast region?
Well, the politics is about the people, and it's also about political leaders. Political leaders influence voter behavior. When people say, oh, this time around, it's going to be the Nigerian people against the APC. That's not totally correct. As somebody who was born, raised in the North, I can tell you that the people go where their leaders want them to go. If the president gets his politics right and he gets the powerful people, the influential people on his side from northern Nigeria, there's no way he will not do well in that part of the country. They will convince their people, they will mobilize their people to vote for him. I've seen this situation a number of times. Ordinarily, given the hunger in the land, should the APC be winning governorship election in Ondo State, for example? And it won in Ondo State with a wide margin. You get my point? So, at least we know that the hunger is a national reality in our country presently. No state is insulated, no state is not involved. But in those states, the people still voted for APC. And if you cannot say that election was rigged. The people voted for the incumbent governor. So, in Kano, for example, in Kano, Kwankwaso remains a big force. Somebody who influences political behavior on a big scale. If the president can get him on his side, frankly, the job is done. This is the truth. Some people may not like it, but that's a place where I worked for about 7 years. Worked in Kano for about 7 years. I know what I'm talking about. Know what I'm talking about. People still listen to their leaders. A lot of Ijaw politicians have defected into the APC from PDP in Delta State. I want to believe that if Baba Edwin Clark was alive, even though he didn't openly support a party, he may have stopped that mass defection into the APC because he was very influential, especially amongst his Ijaw people. So people still listen to their leaders. Sometimes they'll tell them, okay, this is who I want. It was the same influence and power that Olusola Saraki had over Kwara. Wherever I told the people to go, they will go. So those who are saying, oh, this election will be between the Nigerian people and the APC, they need to be told that it doesn't always work like that. It doesn't always work like that. I also do not believe that Nigeria will become a one-party state. People said this during the Obasanjo era. It didn't happen. I saw George W. Bush win 30 out of 50 American states in the presidential election. He still didn't turn America to a one-party state, despite winning 30 out of 50 states. Donald Trump has done something similar. He won overwhelmingly hefty landslide, audacious landslide. But that won't turn the USA into a one-party state. It's not going to happen. There's no chance in hell that that will happen. So let's be patient. Defections do not even suggest that the ruling party has won the election. No.
That's right.
People should not get ahead of themselves. There's still a lot of work to be done. Let's not conclude that, oh, because these defections are happening, oh, one party state is here. No. It does not automatically translate to victory. I just spoke earlier about the APC losing not less than 10 states in the presidential election of 2023. So that you have a sitting governor is not a guarantee that you win the election. Okowa was sitting governor in Delta. He was on the ballot along with Atiku Abubakar. It didn't stop him from losing the election. Labour Party won that election, despite Okowa being the sitting governor. So these things, politics is not simply a game of 1 + 1 = 2. Many things happen even on election day. It is how good you are at mobilizing people, especially on election day, that makes the difference between winning and losing. If you are popular and you mobilize badly on election day, your opponent will gain an edge and your opponent will win the election. Right. So your field game in the days leading to the election and on the day of the election is very, very crucial. Once you get your field game right, then you are most likely going to carry the day.
Yeah. Let me take this comment. I think I can just squeeze in this. Just wondering why the issue is about a so-called one-party state. Do oppositions exist in a vacuum or just for the sake of it? Quality and substance defines credible opposition, not label. Very quickly, Mikhail, and if you can do this in less than 2 minutes. Looking back at 2014, when similar coalition strategies helped APC defeat PDP, some analysts believe history could be repeating itself. Could this targeted win signal that the APC is mastering the timing and alliances game again, well ahead of the polls? Very quickly.
Okay. In spite of what you call the coalition at that time, APC only won the presidential election with 4 percentage points. It's one of the closest elections in Nigerian history. Just 4 percentage points. Despite all the noise, we saw the way people came together and all that. Buhari defeated Jonathan by just 4 percentage points, 48% for Jonathan and 52% for Buhari. As I said, Nigerian politics can be really tricky. It can be really tricky. I still think that if the opposition gets its act right, and I've been talking about it for some time, the ruling party can be defeated. The ruling party can be defeated. We saw the signs in the presidential election of 2023. People will say, oh, it's the worst election in history. It's only ignorant people who do not follow the figures that will talk like that. An election in which the ruling party lost at least 10 of its states. You can't say it's the worst election. In the past, they will simply write those figures. No governor will agree to lose his own state. But 10 governors, at least 10 governors of APC lost their states. Plateau was one of them. Despite being made the coordinator of the president's campaign, he couldn't deliver a state. El-Rufai couldn't deliver Kaduna State. In fact, El-Rufai lost his local government. President Tinubu won just 2 local governments in the whole of Kaduna State. So nobody should imagine that because of what is happening now, that, oh, the 2027 presidential election is in the bag for the APC. No. There's still a lot of work to do. And the opposition still stands a chance. I will not write off the opposition at this point. I will still put the opposition in the mix. If they work hard,
Right.
if they get their politics right, they can still defeat the ruling party. That's my submission.
Right. So let me take this comment and then we wrap. Mitun Songa says, VKO, I really like the way you support the submissions and analysis with real life historical occurrences. Wouldn't you have been a better lawyer than a journalist? Nelson Adefe says, VKO is the current heavyweight journalist with his wealth of history on issues being analyzed. And Nelson Wilfred says, if Bokonso gets his politics right, it will be the next president of Nigeria after Tinubu's 8 years term. Okay, your prognosis is already saying that Tinubu will be 8 years. That's about it because of our time. We just have to go. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with JIDE. Special thanks to you, Babajide Kolade Tutoji, for those insightful analysis as always, even though sometimes the analysis always hold me spellbound and it's difficult to say bye-bye to our audience.
Thank you, Brian. We are in this together.
Sure.
And I say a big thank you to our viewers who have kept faith with us. I enjoy doing this and I enjoy being appreciated by you all.
Right, and thanks to our audience for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at Ibrahim at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.